Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Creative Focus, the show that illuminates some of Cleveland's most talented and creative artists across the genres of dance, film, music, theater, and visual arts. I'm your host, Cornell Calhoun III, and I'm thrilled to have as my guest today on Creative Focus the executive director of the Cleveland International Film Festival, Miss Hermione Malone.
Thank you for having me.
Miss Malone, it is my pleasure. Now, you are originally from Detroit, the Motor City.
Yes.
Talk about your journey to Cleveland.
I left
Briefly.
Detroit. I went to undergrad at Florida A&M University.
The Rattlers.
The Rattlers. Had a career in journalism on the East Coast. Came to Weatherhead School at Case Western Reserve to get my MBA. Stayed here for 13 years. Took an exciting career opportunity in New Orleans 8 years ago, and I'm just back as of June of last year.
Do you see any difference in Cleveland from the last time you were here?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think the development that the city has undergone has been tremendous. Everything from the West 25th corridor, where you've got the activation by the Hispanic Chamber of all of the retail and the community service space, to Ohio City, where there are buildings there that weren't there before, to my own neighborhood.
Okay.
Where, yeah, everything has a bit of a familiar feel, but also there's a lot that's new and different.
What inspired you to pursue a career in leadership in the film festival?
Really, I didn't start out wanting the job because I thought, I've never run a film festival. Why would that make any sense? And it's something that I had to sort of be convinced to take a closer look at. When I lived in Cleveland, I loved the film festival. I went every year. I would tell people, for a city like Cleveland, this event punches well above its weight. It's world class. And so I cared about the institution, obviously. And when I understood some of the challenges facing the future of the festival, I felt like I could really have an impact and wanted to take a part in keeping something vibrant and alive that I loved so much when I was a Clevelander.
And I think the festival started in 1977, am I correct?
It did. It did.
And so this is the 49th festival. What do you love about films?
I think film is one of the more accessible ways of storytelling. I learn incredible things from seeing film. I love how it can transport you to a time and place. I think people talk about music as the soundtrack of our lives, but I would argue film ranks right up there. I think we can all identify a film that between us and our friends, we all know the words to. We can act out the scenes. I just think film has a very powerful way in which it brings stories to life.
And how would you define success in a film festival? You know, how would you?
I think the Cleveland International Film Festival is living in that success. It is one of the oldest in the country. So to have had 49 years of incredible films, an incredible platform for independent filmmakers, the longevity is one version of what success looks like. But I think we also look at the integrity with which we go through our screening process. We look at issues of curatorial justice. Who is the storyteller? What is the perspective we're sharing? I think success for us is a well-rounded program where, we say you may not like everything at the Cleveland International Film Festival, but there is something there for everyone. And so putting together a program that both reflects Cleveland, but also the broader world around us in a way that attracts everyone to come on down, that's success for us as well.
So when exactly is the festival and where?
Opening night is March the 27th. We kick off with a film called For Worse and a phenomenal party afterwards. And then it runs for another 9 days, ending the in-person on April the 5th. And then the following week, we run a streaming festival. So some portion of the films that we screen during the festival and then some new options will be available that week online.
What qualities do you look for in a film?
We look for storytelling, pacing, performance. So quality of the film is sort of most important. I think the second thing is that curatorial justice element I talked about. We look for representation in front of and behind the camera. We look for perspectives and storytelling. We look for visibility and diversity. And then the third piece is program. Does this fit well with the program that we are trying to create from a well-rounded sense?
And how would you say you make sure that the platform is consistent with emerging filmmakers, those people who are just starting out? Why would they be interested in submitting to the festival?
One of the things that's true for filmmakers of independent film, particularly emerging talent, is film festivals are the vehicle for the world to see your work often. Film festivals have an overarching bent towards showing the work of independent filmmakers. It's not necessarily where you're going to see something that will end up on Netflix. Maybe it will, but the goal is really to showcase independent film. So for first-time filmmakers, emerging talent, there really is no better stage for you to reach an audience. The other thing about festivals is we bring the filmmakers in. So it's a really unique opportunity as a filmmaker to see a live audience reaction to your work. Cleveland Film Festival audiences are enthusiastic. They're excited to be there. They're excited to meet the filmmakers. They want to hear more about your work and how you created the film and what you're thinking of doing next. So it's a welcoming environment as well.
What do you believe the festival's role is in engaging the local community?
Mm-hmm. I think we try in a couple of ways to do that. One, we've got a local heroes portion of the festival where we are curating films that are made in Cleveland or by Clevelanders, whether they're still in Cleveland or they're originally from here and they've moved someplace else. So we want to shine a light on the talent that comes from this place. I think the other thing that we do is we partner with over 100 community partners, nonprofits from across the city who choose to partner with us on lifting a light on certain issues through film. So they will encourage folks to come to a film based on the topic or the issue, the audience that they have. And so that collaboration also oftentimes begets additional programming with filmmakers. So we think that it's a way for folks to, one, see a lot of films they might not otherwise get a chance to see, to do it in a pretty convenient manner. We're at Playhouse Square, every film is screened there, so you don't have to go inside and outside, and you come in and you're there. And then I think we're giving incredible access to storytellers of all stripes, that the community can not only see their work, but engage with the people who created it.
And how does the festival engage filmmakers and the audiences, would you say?
One, I think we create an experience that this in these times is becoming increasingly rare. We bring people together to see a film in a specific place. And that sounds so basic, but I think in the age of like everything streaming, where more and more of us are watching these kind of cinematic moments at home on the couch by ourselves or with our immediate household, bringing people together for a collective experience is pretty energizing. So that's the first thing we do. I think we are very welcoming and well regarded by filmmakers because of, one, the financial assistance we provide in order to bring them here so they can be a part of the festival. Two, the access we provide them to engage with not only our audiences, but other filmmakers. We've had some collaborations for future films come about as a result of filmmakers meeting each other at our festival.
And talk about the streaming services versus the actual film festivals. Does that place a burden on like the Cleveland International Film Festival and other festivals, this constant streaming, everyone's watching Netflix, on Hulu and so forth?
Yeah, it's a challenge in a couple of ways. We call it the pull of the couch is what we're fighting in a way. But I think if you look at attendance at film festivals broadly post-COVID, that has been a challenge. People were streaming things before COVID. What that period of isolation did is it accelerated the adoption rate that we would have probably seen over years kind of happen in a year or two. And so studios are also trying to get folks back into theaters. We're trying to get folks back into theaters. But I do think the important thing to note about film festivals, and this is true whether you're talking about, something at Sundance or something at the Cleveland International Film Festival, you are largely seeing things that you may never have an opportunity to see on a larger platform. every filmmaker wants the big deal. They want their films to be shown in cinemas. They want their films to be shown on Netflix or Hulu. But for a lot of them, that won't happen right out of the gate. And so when you come and support a film festival, you are supporting these smaller filmmakers, these independent filmmakers, and seeing work that otherwise might be very difficult for you as a member of the public to see.
And how would you measure success of the film festival, like beyond ticket sales and media? How do you do that?
Well, one of the things we look at is submissions. The Cleveland International Film Festival is very highly regarded among filmmakers. I sort of mentioned the care we take and the support we provide in trying to get them here. We're also one of the few festivals left in the world that will provide written feedback to filmmakers post-submission. So if folks want to understand maybe why their film wasn't selected this year, there is feedback our programmers will offer them. And so I do think that there is still something unique about coming to see, film in person and getting to engage and hear the backstory of how these films came to be by engaging with filmmakers. So I think that proximity to audience, I think the regard that we provide helps us with the submissions, which is a pretty strong indicator of success. This year, over 3,500 filmmakers submitted to us. So that suggests to us that the festival is still seen as a vital platform for the showcasing of their work.
3,500, and of the 3,500, you selected 300 roughly.
We did.
Talk about that process. That's a arduous task.
I do not envy those teams. And I tell people as executive director, I get no vote. So this is a very sort of rigorous and democratic process. First of all, in July, we open up the call for submission. So anyone who wants to submit a film can go online and do so. It's pretty easy. Somebody asked me, how do I pitch you? And I was like, you don't. You just submit it. We have screening teams that review every single one of those films. If they get a score of a certain amount, the programming team then reviews those films. And then collectively, that group creates the program. They make decisions on what do they think is sort of the best of the best, and then what goes together well to make sort of a comprehensive film. You don't want all documentaries. You don't want all horror. You don't want all rom-com, right? And so how are we building a program that has maximum appeal for our audience?
What excites you so much about the festival?
I think the future is bright and full of opportunity for us. I think despite some of the drop-offs in attendance that festivals have seen over the years, people are coming back. They're coming back with a lot of enthusiasm for the programs that they're seeing at festivals. I think there's a tremendous opportunity for us to engage more in the community throughout the year. The Cleveland International Film Festival is this big 10-day event every spring, but I think we engage right now year-round with students. I think there's an opportunity to do more of that with, members of the public. And so I'm excited about what that 50-year mark looks like for us and going forward from there.
That's right, 50 years next time. So are you thinking about doing anything special for the 50-year celebration?
Of course, it's such a landmark anniversary for us. And so, yes, we are doing some work kind of behind the scenes to figure out what does it look like as we, get on the road to 50 following this year's festival.
And you have so much experience in terms of leadership, because I know you were at the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital. Is leadership something that can be obtained in any venue, or is it different? Is leadership, is it the same when you're running an organization, like when you working at the Cleveland Clinic, or when now you're working at the festival? Is it the same? Is the same principles you use?
I wouldn't say exactly the same principles, but I do think you call on a lot of the same sort of knowledge and instincts to lead. I would say that leading an organization like the Cleveland International Film Festival is different from the nonprofit organization I ran in New Orleans, focused on growing Black and brown entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs. But there are tenets, yes, that absolutely work across the board.
We have a promo. You were kind enough to send us a promo, so we're going to take a look at it so our audience can get excited as you and I are. All right.
Fantastic.
Here's a promo from the Cleveland International Film Festival. Watch and enjoy. I can't wait.
Yes, this is the first time in a long time we've done something like this, which is a clip reel that teases the films, some of the films that are in the festival. So we hope that got people a little bit excited about what they can expect to see this.
Well, I'm certainly excited. Talk a little bit about collaborations and partnerships with the festival.
Sure. So Film Slam, which I know is a program you're familiar with, you've had some films there, is our effort to grow film appreciation and knowledge of quality filmmaking among students in grades 5 through 12. So throughout the school year, we have virtual programs. We put together study guides. Schools can opt into this for free. They work films into their curriculum with a lot of interest from foreign language instructors about films in German or Spanish or French. But this program, this year-round program, which reaches over 19,000 students in Northeast Ohio, culminates every year at the film festival with Film Slam, where they come, they see films in person. There's a student sort of competition for film. So filmmakers in the Film Slam competition also can get awards. And we most importantly expose the students to filmmaking, even potentially as a career. So not only can they ask questions about what they've seen, but they can also ask about the work of being a filmmaker.
What I loved about the Film Slam was, you get a chance to explain your film, the process to the students. I mean, we really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite filmmaker?
Oh.
If you could invite any filmmaker to the Cleveland International Film
This
Festival,
is so
who might
hard.
Give me one or two.
Okay, Ava DuVernay.
Oh, yes.
I would love to see at the film festival. So hard.
Think about it.
I know, it's like you're forcing me to like pick my favorite friends or something like that. But
what's been the most rewarding part for you since you've been here in June?
I would say the warm welcome that I've received from the city. There was a call that I picked up the voicemail this morning from a gentleman who is a longtime fan of the film festival, having some health challenges, won't be able to make it out this year, but wanted to wish me well and is so excited and is looking at the program. This is one of the crown jewels in the arts and cultural crown of Cleveland. And so I think to have people who've been coming to the festival, I've met people who've been coming to the festival for 40 years. That kind of support has meant a lot. So I would say that's one of the most incredible experiences I've had since coming back, is how like warmly I've been received.
Do you have a certain film that you just in love?
Yeah, I'm the kind of person who either likes a deep drama or a documentary and a mystery. And so one of my like all-time favorite films is Beaches with Bette Midler. And I remember recently, I've seen it many, many times, and I recently was on a plane and I was like, oh, I love that movie, not realizing how sad it is. So I'm like on this Delta flight, like wiping away the tears, bawling. But yeah, I tend to cluster myself in a lot of documentary film, but also a lot of, drama.
How does the film festival ensure that there's diversity in film?
We look for it. We're intentional about it. We have a programming team that itself is diverse. So we've got folks who sort of specialize in finding us film from Caribbean communities, the African diaspora, Spanish language, LGBTQ films. And so when you are intentional about seeking out diverse talent and voices, you can find it. They're not like hidden out there. We just have to have an eye for looking for that. We look for diversity in the teams who are filmmaking. So not just as the filmmaker, a woman or a person of color or LGBTQ, but who's making up that team. We look for proximity to issues. So if you are creating a film about something that you are directly affected by, or you are a member of the community for, that proximate nature to the issue and to the story, we find tends to lead to better quality filmmaking. So for us, diversity is a lot of things, but I think the way we're able to achieve it is the intentionality. And that's led by our artistic director, Mallory Martin, who is very thoughtful about how we approach issues of diversity and access, to film as well.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge for you in this new position?
I think that in 49 years, the film festival has built a fan base that is accustomed to a lot of things. I cannot count how many times I've had people tell me about how much they loved it at Tower City and the things they loved that really aren't replicatable as much in Playhouse Square. And so I think getting people to have a healthy respect and appreciation for the past, but also understand that there are exciting things in front of us that are going to require us to pivot and change and do some things differently. We're always going to present the highest quality independent film in the market in a given year that makes a strong, diverse program for us. But how you experience that is going to continue, to evolve. So the experience at last year's festival wasn't the same as at the fifth Cleveland International Film Festival. And so while we appreciate the strong foundation, I think we're looking more in our windshield and less in our rearview mirror.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. What is your vision for the festival as you look ahead?
Mm-hmm. One, I'd like for people to see themselves at the festival. I think there are a lot of Clevelanders who've never been, who maybe don't think it's for them. And that's part of what I've been saying for months is like, there is absolutely something for everyone. I have a friend who's like, I don't really have a long attention span for films. I said, we have shorts. Wow. I watched a short that was 3 minutes long last week. Like, we've got an extraordinary range of film arts for people to take part in. So that's one goal, is that people are much more aware of the festival and see themselves as like, oh, this is for me, and I'm going to come and experience it.
How many films do you watch primarily for when you attend the festival?
So before now, I think I might average 10 to 12 when I lived here before. I have no illusion that I'm going to be able to watch any complete film at this year's festival. I feel like I'll be running around a bit.
Right.
So I've seen some ahead of time. There are a few more I'm going to try to catch before the festival. But yeah, it's funny. I don't spend most of my time watching movies. That's Mallory and that programming team, it sounds fun, but it's so much work. I can't reiterate how much work that is. So I catch a few things, but my primary job is sort of building partnerships, raising revenue for us, and thinking about the vision for the future.
Do you believe that a title is the initial stage that makes someone want to watch a film if they have no knowledge of it, would you say, or no?
I don't know. Maybe the synopsis or the trailer. We did community listening sessions when I first started in the summer. I wanted to hear from the community, both people who loved the festival, but also a lot of people who never come.
Okay.
And one gentleman said to me, independent film can be really great or it can be terrible. And I just don't know what I'm getting. If you guys could have more trailers, it would help me figure out like, oh yeah, this is a film that I think I would want to check out. So we've made an effort to get more trailers from filmmakers this year.
And what do you think, in your opinion, is the biggest difference between the Cleveland International Film Festival and, say, another city? What do you aspire to give the audience?
I would say the biggest difference might well be the structure of the festival. We have a pretty long festival at 10 days this year. A lot of other festivals are shorter. They might just be one weekend. I think there are festivals that specialize in films. So whether that's sci-fi or that's the Black diaspora, for example, we tend to be more general in the genres that we're trying to cover. But I think the biggest difference is going to be the audience. I think Clevelanders are enthusiastic about films and filmmakers and this festival. And so that is probably going to be, the biggest difference and frankly, our biggest asset.
Has the ceiling always been at 300 or is that based upon submissions?
It's based upon the number of screening slots that we have.
Okay.
So for folks who remember when the festival was at Tower City, that theater had 10 screens. The festival didn't start out using all 10, but by the 2000s, they were very safely in all 10 theaters. So if I have 10 screens to program and I have 12 days to do it in, then I can screen a lot more than if I have 4 or 5 screens. So I will say that Clevelanders are very lucky, and maybe just a teensy bit film festival spoiled, because most cities, the festival is in multiple locations.
Right.
And so this Tower City of experience where you come to one place, or Playhouse Square, and I think that was a thinking in choosing Playhouse Square. I wasn't here at the time, but I understand that to be a factor, is that people are used to going to one place and just moving around in that one place, as opposed to going to multiple theaters across a city. And so we have 4 screens this year. And so it's really the screens and the number of days combined that create your screening hours. And that's how we arrive at the 300 this year.
That's incredible.
I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of math. You should see Mallory's office with their little index cards that are color coded. Even the push pins are color coded. It's pretty intense.
Tell us once again when and where the festival is and why they should rush down and see it.
The Cleveland International Film Festival takes place this year, March 27th through the 5th of April at Playhouse Square in downtown Cleveland, and it streams the week of May 6th, where you can watch independent film from the comfort of your home. And the reason that you need to come on down is to show some incredible support to some amazing storytellers. I guarantee you're going to find something that makes you go, huh? And something that maybe you will not see anywhere else. So come on down and join us.
Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV20 and Creative Focus. Until the next time is our time. Be well, be safe.